Dynasty for so detailed and reveal so everything always to say about this, and check this out.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name is Michael Remen, aka All Fires. Now, rumors aside, very little is known officially about either of the two Avengers films to end the multiverse saga. The first of which, Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty, and if it's still released in 2025, is over 2 years away. However, the writer on that script also worked on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and in a recent interview, Jeff Loveness started talking about just that. His vision for Avengers Kang Dynasty, how the multiverse saga will work to lead to it, and how he sees Kang in the place of all this. We're going to break down his latest and official updates about Avengers Kang Dynasty, the script, and his vision for it. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel, and that's all we do. Everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, and reviews, to the occasional industry insider report, and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. That will automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway, which will right around the corner from the next one. It's less than a month away to coincide with the release of Quantumania again. So all you gotta do, be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video. If you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So this update came in an article from GamesRadar.com in their SFX magazine under the headline, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania writer says Kang the Conqueror is a top-tier A-list Avengers villain. They go on to write, Jonathan Majors' villain had a brief introduction in Loki as He Who Remains, but according to the movie creators, we'll be seeing a very different side of him this time around. But just how do you follow Thanos? Quote, to me, it's all about the humanities, says screenwriter Jeff Loveness in an upcoming edition of SFX magazine. Quote, obviously Thanos is great, an iconic villain, but he's also a big purple CGI guy. He's an alien from outer space. The thing I really wanted to lean into is that Kang is a human being. He adds, Kang also is a very lonely character. We're going to be seeing a lot of him in a lot of different ways going forward, but I really wanted to introduce the humanity and even the vulnerability of this character before he gets to such apocalyptic Avengers scale heights. And this is where he really starts to get into the Avengers Kang Dynasty stuff. Quote, Kang is a top-tier A-list Avengers villain. What do you do when you feel like you're not enough against that? How do you step up to face the challenge of this generation, who is Thanos on an exponential level? He's almost infinite Thanos. I think we're setting up things for a pretty dynamic story. As I'm building to Avengers, I want it to feel like a generational struggle. Phase 4 felt like the birth of new characters. You're giving everyone a little bit of breath, you're broadening out the universe, you have fun Disney Plus shows that are elevating characters, and now I think it's time to put the pedal to the gas again and really take all these new characters and throw them into the fire. Now, obviously, painting with broad strokes here and just logically, it's an Avengers film. Duh, they're going to put an Avengers team in it. It'll be a team up of the new characters that were introduced, but I think this will really speak to a certain small faction, an impatient faction of the Marvel fandom, who feels like Marvel Phase 4 has gone forever without leading to one specific thing. Now, giving credit where credit's due, all of these projects have had their own question marks. At the end of Thor Ragnarok, at the end of Multiverse of Madness, or a TV show like Moon Knight or She-Hulk, there's no immediate direction for new characters introduced like Clea or Hercules, or even characters like Werewolf by Night, Man-Thing, and Elsa Bloodstone. But I think some of that's been unfair because the wider you go with this, the more characters you bring in, the deeper the story can go, more complicated it can be, as long as they deliver on that during the film. And I think that's what he's trying to get at with the other part of this quote about Kang being a top-tier A-list Avenger, but more than that, being an infinite Thanos, a generational threat. And it looks like the way they're going to attempt to do this is give him a lot more real estate in film time than Thanos ever got before we're introduced to him in Infinity War. And I brought this up a couple of times in videos, and I think it's an excellent opportunity to bring it up again. A show like Rick and Morty has shown us when there's an infinite multiverse of options, if you can simply hop into an adjacent universe every time you mess something up, then nothing is sacred, nothing is special. The way you make something special is that presumably we're following our Rick and Morty. And even though the show has teased us multiple times in multiple episodes for caring about a specific Rick and Morty, it's going to be the same case in this, the infinite multiverse of Kangs. We're going to need to follow one Kang, a Kang Prime, the Kang that we're invested in. And while there will be several Kangs that show up, and even in the near future, we've heard rumors that we may see some in just this phase alone in different projects, and there'll be different versions. There still needs to ultimately be one version that leads to Kang Dynasty, one ultimate Kang, Kang Alpha, Kang Prime, whatever you want to call him. I believe that's going to be the Kang we're introduced to. Remember, during the recent home TV spot, he says, this place isn't what you think. It's a cage, referring to it as a place that he's trapped. And the reason that this version of Kang would be trapped in the first place is because someone like He Who Remains or the other variants that were warring against each other in the multiverse of war knew that he was the one who most needed to be trapped, the scariest of all, the Rick Prime, so to speak. Not to draw more conclusions over to Rick and Morty, but to be fair, the Rick and Morty Council of Ricks is exactly like the Council of Kings or even the Council of Reeds, something you may have seen if you watched the animated Avengers film, where there's a harmonious group of Kangs that work together across the multiverse and agree never to interfere with one another. During that film, they actually warned that Kang that the Avengers he's facing off against, who presumably will be our 616 Avengers in Kang Dynasty, are the ones that threaten all Kangs across the multiverse because they're the only ones he's not able to defeat. We've also heard that from our Kang in multiple trailers where he goes, "You're an Avenger, have I killed you before?" Presumably, Kang's been killing Avengers and for quite some time. The important thing to remember here is that circles represent time. They have for quite some time in the MCU, pun totally intended, and they definitely did at the end of all time when Loki finally finds the tower in He Who Remains. Because time is a circle, you can't think of it as a linear progression, or rather, even when He Who Remains is describing what happened, he says a long time ago in the 31st century, which technically should be the future. Keep that in mind as we go into this, because what I think will ultimately be revealed in sort of a Matrix-style twist, and just another theory I've had for quite some time, is that it'll be revealed that this has already happened. Everything that we're going to be seeing with the Avengers playing out, fighting against Kang once again, getting trapped in the quantum realm, getting released, it's all played out again and again and again. And it looks like from some of the trailer footage that we've got that they're going to experiment with actual ideas from quantum physics, the multiverse, and how that would play out in actual real physics on screen and in the timeline. Which for me, I think as we get closer to this film, one of my earliest theories may end up becoming true, in that the original rules set for time travel during Avengers Endgame and Infinity War will be changed going forward, because as you have a villain that's based on a circular story, in the same way we saw with the Matrix, the idea is ultimately breaking that circle and making a multiverse that goes forward with free will in a real timeline that is not a circle, that isn't ultimately bound to repeat itself. But I think we're getting ahead of ourselves, because as I said at the beginning of this, we're still 2 years away from Kang Dynasty, and regardless of where the scripts are on both of those Avengers films, they're not finished yet, subject to a million changes and rewrites, and then even reshoots past that. So guys, let me know all your thoughts down below, what you think about Kang, how they're building this out, and what you really want to see from a new Avengers team when that's finally created. There are rumors that other small Avengers teams like the West Coast Avengers or Young Avengers could show up between now and then in the MCU. I think that's real likely, and more on that in future videos. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Alright, we're still giving away a PlayStation 5. It'll coincide with the release of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. If you want to be entered to win, all the same rules will always apply. All you gotta do, hit the subscribe button and leave a comment down below, because it's truly random. The more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on, and as always, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. Make sure to remember that all winners are always announced during the video live with my voice in the comments on screen. No YouTuber will ever ask you to pay for shipping, and it's the same with me. We don't charge winners for shipping. If you see comments telling you that you've won, or to contact you on a third-party app like Telegram or WhatsApp, please report those comments, my channel, any other channel. There are scammers everywhere these days. Just go ahead and delete those comments. The system will go ahead and delete their accounts. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at @I'mFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, under the name All Fires and Wise. I sincerely appreciate you checking my music out. Thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be again real soon.
Subscribe, like this video. Have a great night, and see you guys. Bye.